this. I mean, this could be a very memorable ice storm for a lot of people. It's the ice that has me the most concerned. This is also going to be a very big snowstorm for some people. But when you get the ice, you just tend to see much more long-lasting and devastating impacts. It can bring down the whole power grid for a long time. And the biggest thing that I'm by far the most concerned about with the ice, especially causing all those power outages, is the fact that there's so much Arctic cold air that's going to stick around after the storm is gone.
President Trump delivering remarks at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. He reiterates his demands for the U.S. to control Greenland.
Every NATO ally has an obligation to be able to defend their own territory. And the fact is, no nation or group of nations is in any position to be able to secure Greenland other than the United States.
The Trump administration's investigation into Minnesota officials is ramping up. Steve Harrigan reports from Minneapolis.
Subpoenas have been issued for the governor and the mayor for interfering with the work of federal agents. And the border commander here said basically the elected officials, as well as those protesters, are working hand in hand.
It's that collusion and corruption between elected officials and these anarchists that are intent on creating violence for law enforcement.
As for that church service that was interrupted so aggressively on Sunday by a couple of dozen protesters who screamed in the faces of parishioners for about half an hour, administration officials now say they expect several arrests to be made.
A Messianic Jewish leader who has lived in Minnesota all her life says the spirit of the Antichrist is reigning in the Twin Cities. Chad Groening has more.
Federal prosecutors have served 6 grand jury subpoenas to Minnesota officials as part of an investigation into whether they obstructed or impeded federal law enforcement during a sweeping immigration operation in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area. Meanwhile, the Justice Department is investigating a group of left-wing agitators who disrupted services at a Baptist church in St. Paul on Sunday. Jan Markell is founder and director of Minneapolis-based Olive Tree Ministries. She believes the spirit of the Antichrist is permeating the Twin Cities.
People that are determined to destroy. They're anarchists. I would even call it demonic. It is a level of the demonic because the passion to destroy and just do and say things is something you have to see to believe. You really do.
Markell says this reminds her of 2020 when Minneapolis was ground zero for George Floyd and the so-called Summer of Love.
My goodness, we had 1,000 properties destroyed at that time, and I saw that spirit of Antichrist, but I'm seeing the identical type of destructive nature of these leftists. So that same spirit of the Antichrist that I saw in 2020, I'm seeing again here in the winter of 2025 and 26.
I'm Chad Groening.
A woman charged with murder in Michigan is charged with health care fraud now as well. Chris Foster has more.
A judge deciding whether Tamala Peterson and 3 employees at her Oxford Recovery Center location in Troy, Michigan, will go on trial for the death of Robert Cooper, a 5-year-old killed in a hyperbaric oxygen chamber explosion last year. And Peterson is arraigned now on unrelated healthcare fraud charges, accused of knowing about and benefiting from the filing of false claims, including billing for services not provided. The Michigan Attorney General's office says its investigation started after complaints from former providers and patients in 2022.
President Trump has signed an executive order aimed at boosting home ownership.
The executive order, signed by the president on Tuesday, restricts large Wall Street investors from competing with individual homebuyers in an effort to make housing more affordable, according to a statement from the White House. The Justice Department and the Federal Trade Commission will also review acquisitions by large investors. Wall Street investors like Blackstone, American Homes for Rent, and Progress Residential have bought thousands of single-family homes since the financial crisis of 2008 led to a wave of home foreclosures. By June 2022, large investors owned about 3% of all single-family rental homes nationally, according to the Government Accountability Office. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
More news online at afn.net and the AFN mobile app. I'm Rusty Pugh.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tim Wildmon, president of American Family Association and American Family Radio. Hey, the tours we've got planned in 2026 are going to be fantastic. They're historical, spiritual, heritage tours. For the information all about them, the D.C., the Williamsburg, the Boston tours, go to wildmongroup.com, WILDMON group.com, and we hope to see you on one of our 2026 spiritual heritage tours.
Welcome to Today's Issues, offering a Christian response to the issues of the day. Here's your host, Tim Wildmon, president of the American Family Association.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's issues on the American Family Radio Network. That's what you're listening to right now. American Family Radio. We haven't been renamed like the Gulf of Mexico was. We've always been American Family Radio. So President Trump has left us alone because we are American Family Radio. I'm Tim with Ed Vitagliano. Good morning, Brother Ed.
Good morning, Tim.
Wesley, good morning.
And good morning.
That's Wesley Wildmon and Fred Jackson, our news director.
Hi there.
Good morning. Well, fellas, before we jump into the news of the day, I just got to say, and Hardee's did not pay me to say this, okay? But I had to go get Allison, my wife. She's babysitting one of her, I think we have 11.
Somewhere.
I think we have 11 grandchildren last
plus or minus one.
Yeah, at last count.
Yeah.
Unless somebody had a baby this morning I don't know about, which could happen.
It could happen, yeah.
In our family, especially Walker. But anyway, back to my Hardee's.
Yes.
So I went and while she's babysitting at nearby,
Yeah.
I went and got her a Hardee's sausage and egg biscuit. The lady said to me, "I'm just going to get one. I was going to skip breakfast.
Right.
Save the calories for."
Oh, sure. For later.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, absolutely.
We have to watch these things. Save the calories for tonight, right? And but the lady at the window said, "I've got 2 for $5." She said, "Do you want it? Yes or no?" And I was put on this spot.
Right.
I mean, I'm at the window.
And your true feelings came through.
Well, my taste buds said, "You betcha, you do."
I betcha.
2 for $5 is a good
$5.
deal.
It was no more than one than normal. I mean, so I got 2 for $1.
Right.
So I took it.
You took it.
I took that bargain.
Yeah.
And
you were not disappointed,
no,
were you?
That was about a quarter till.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to say that a hot, fresh, Hardy, you're shaking your head. You know what I'm saying?
No, absolutely.
A Hardee's sausage and egg biscuit is I've moved it up into one of the top 10 best things in life.
Not food.
They're hard. They're hard to beat.
I moved it ahead of banana pudding, and that was
a hard decision.
It was number 11. Homemade, especially homemade banana pudding.
Yeah.
Is number 11. I'm talking about on the best things in life.
Yeah.
For me, for
And
Tim.
and
for
our
Brother
audience
Tim.
knows what you're talking about because this is not just a local restaurant here. This is a chain.
Yeah,
So-
Hardee's all over the place. Now, you can every once in a while you can get a crusty biscuit that was made 3 hours ago, but you get you a fresh one but anyway. You agree with that analysis?
I absolutely agree. And I think west of the Mississippi, it's called Carl's.
Carl's Jr.
Yeah. Now I'm assuming they do the breakfast like
Same thing?
Hardee's. I'm guessing. But listen, on a Saturday morning, sometimes my wife will send me to. We have a Hardee's in our little town where we live, and you go inside to pick it up.
Yeah.
That place is filled.
Yeah.
There's a lot of old guys sitting around tables. I guess they're retired.
Drinking their coffee.
And eating their
Solving
biscuit.
the world's problems.
Yeah.
And that's at every Hardee's.
Gossiping to beat the world.
Anyway, I just had to say that I won't. Anyway, Hardee's didn't pay me for that.
I thought you were going to
Although
start
they
off
should.
with some more serious news, like the weather.
Well,
but
Wesley, in my opinion, food is serious. It needs to be. People need to talk about it more.
we do.
So that we'll know what to eat and how to eat and how to make yourself healthier.
Right.
Like a sausage and egg biscuit.
Yes.
You know, that helps your digestive system. That's what I've read. Huh?
You read that?
I read that on the internet.
The Journal of the American Medical Association. Is that it? You read it wherever President Trump reads that Big Macs.
If my doctor ever tells me you got to give up
a sausage
and egg biscuit, an occasional one.
Yeah.
I don't know if life would be worth going on.
Well, I had a friend. I'm not this. This may come across as a little callous to some people.
Right.
I'm not trying to be. Okay.
Just set
but,
that.
Yeah, I'm just setting that out there. But he said, yeah, the doctor's always telling me I can't eat this and can't eat that because it takes 2 years off my life. And he said, all I can say is that's probably going to be another 2 years I have to spend in the nursing home anyway. So we might as well cut that off the end of my life.
That's kind of a dark view of the world,
it's dark.
But I understand that.
Yeah.
My uncle's diabetic, and he's almost 80.
Yeah.
That's kind of the attitude he takes. I said, well, how you doing on your diet?
Yeah.
You know, keep your diabetes under control. And he said, I don't know. What are you talking about? Diet. He said, I'm there to 80.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I'm going out happy.
Yeah. That's it.
All right, here we go. Let me just say this. We do have a lot of serious stuff to talk about. And I just wanted to say this at the outset. We probably half the country is facing a winter storm warning coming up starting Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right in that, over the weekend. And that's going to stretch from, I think,
It's 1,000 miles or something.
Central Texas all the way to the East Coast, right?
Correct. That is correct.
Carolinas.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be really bad for a lot of people in terms of the electricity is going to be off, power lines are going to be down, trees are going to be cracking. Those are the people getting a lot of freezing rain. Now, I don't know, the Snowmageddon is also going to hit, Fred. But I just wanted to say this on our behalf here at American Family Radio. This storm is going to impact probably 50% of our listenership.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and we are going, like everybody else in your town, if your power's out, our tower site's going to be down.
Right.
Okay. Now, we do have, I think, generators at maybe a handful of radio stations. But if we lose power, if we're not on the air, you'll know what happened. And secondly, we've taken all the precautions we can here at our home base here in Tupelo, Mississippi, where we're supposed to get mostly freezing rain, which is going to be awful if that happens, because that's the worst. You'd rather have sleet or snow than freezing rain.
Right.
Okay, so I hope we don't get that, but that's what it's looking like. We do have a big generator here that is like we paid a lot of money for.
Built for stuff like this.
Yeah, it's going to kick on if our power goes out here so that we can keep the network signal going out.
Yeah.
To the country. So say our signal goes up to the satellite and then goes out to our 170 radio stations across the country. So anyway, we will. You can always go to the app, right?
Yes.
If
you've got internet.
If you've got internet, your cell phone or so. Wesley, the app is easy. I know you use the word app with somebody over 70, and you can see them start fidgeting.
Yeah.
Okay. A lot
or
of
they
them.
get excited. They're thinking appetizers.
They're
food.
Duly noted.
There's a handful of.
That's right. So, but I just want to tell folks, if you want to listen to us anywhere you go 24/7, and it's easy to do on your smartphone or your iPad or your other device like that, what do they need to do?
There's two things they can do, and either one will work. The first option is to go to afr.net, and at the bottom of that web page is a huge tab that says download apps, and from that button, so afr.net, scroll to the bottom, click download apps, and it gives you every possible smart device that you may have. So if you've got Roku, if you've got an iPad or an iPhone or an Android or Alexa or any of these plus more, it gives you a step-by-step. It's 2 clicks and you can download the AFR app that way. The other option is just to go to your smart devices and go to the App Store and search afr.net. Either one of those will work. The play-by-play, if you're new to downloading apps, that's the best option, afr.net. If you're familiar with a smart device, then I would just go to your App Store and type in AFR, American Family. Actually, I would just type in American Family Radio. AFR may give you a couple different options, but American Family Radio will give you the option you're looking for.
All right, Fred, this winter storm that's coming to a lot of the country this weekend, what do you know about this?
By the way, it's threatening over 180 million people.
Oh, yeah. If you've looked at a map on your TV or on your website, you see many colors on that map right now. Blues and reds and pinks, they all stand for the kind of precipitation that various parts of the country are going to get. If you're below this snow line, it's most likely going to be freezing rain, which can not only be crippling for the period that freezing rain is there, but for many days after, as many people in the country perhaps have experienced freezing rain and the impact that can have for days and weeks sometimes. this morning on our newscast, we heard from meteorologist Britta Merwin, and it's going to be especially bad, this storm, across the southern tier of the United States. Cut number 1.
And before we can even address what this means for the Northeast, we got to prepare for folks down south. But this is the topic across our country. It is the biggest winter storm that we have seen this season and could be one of the biggest winter storms that we've seen in the past couple years. Step number 1 is what's going to be happening across the south. The timeline is going to be end of this week. So please make sure that you focus on the timeline here. We're going to see changes. It's only Wednesday. But we are shaping up to have a potent ice storm across parts of the south and a belt of very intense snow. So how does this all take shape for the winter storm? That cold air matches up with this very mild air from the Gulf. That rides over it and creates this winter storm. So watches are now up. This is when you start to see things get a little crazy in Texas. Folks going out to the grocery store.
Yeah, so what we're at this moment, we're 10:15
on Wednesday.
Central Time Wednesday, all right? Things can change. But the models that these meteorologists are looking at right now show a line, let's say, through Memphis and east through above Memphis, Tennessee, other states, primarily snow. That is the prediction. Lots of it, at least a foot in many places. Below that line, the potential right now as we're looking at things tends more to freezing rain over a long period of time, followed up by single-digit temperatures, which means if you are in that belt that's going to get freezing rain on the wires, on your roof, everything else, it's going to stick around for a long while because it'll be so cold, the sun will not be able to melt it. All right? So it is a combination. If it all comes about as they're predicting, it's a combination that can create a lot of misery for a whole pile of folks.
Have you guys, do you remember, hold on a second.
Bless you.
Sorry about that. When you have to sneeze on live national radio.
It's awkward.
It's awkward. I just put my cough button on to keep people from having to hear most of that. I apologize. So as I mentioned earlier, freezing rain is the worst. Snow you can shovel. I mean, and snow's pretty.
Yeah.
It's pretty. Now, I know if you have too much of it, you get sick of that pretty.
Right.
But, I mean, it is. Most people, see the soft snow falling out.
Right.
It's so nice to watch, peaceful. But you get freezing rain, there is nothing you can do about it. You're helpless.
Well, the last big storm we had with ice.
94,
freezing,
right?
No, I'm talking about just we hear
ice
the last.
Came after you?
Oh, well, I mean, not personally. It didn't
not that ice.
Yeah,
my bad. I misunderstood.
Ice. No,
you said the last
a few
big
years
storm.
ago we had a storm with freezing rain. I guess what I'm saying, and I'm just talking about how bad this gets. And I heard a loud crash. Of course, our power was out, and I went in the back yard, and the gutter had filled up with freezing rain and got too heavy and just crashed.
Your gutter fell off your house?
Gutter fell off the house because it was just filled up with ice.
That's what I'm saying. You're helpless.
Yeah.
I mean, there's you can.
You're limited on what you can prevent.
Yes.
Up front.
Yes. I just remember I've only been to a couple of these, and I know most people you listen to me, unless you've lived in Florida your whole life, you've experienced this once or twice. But I remember the same storm I think you're talking about. This was in 1994, and it hit a lot of the southern states. But it was a freezing rain, and my father-in-law and mother-in-law, may they rest in peace, they lived in the middle of pine trees.
Ooh.
And I'm talking
Soft
about pine trees everywhere in their yard and in their property. And what happens is what do you call a pine tree? Needle? Do you call
Pine
it
needles.
a needle?
Every pine needle.
Every pine needle, if it's freezing rain, every raindrop that hits freezes, and it just pulls. After a couple of hours, those trees start snapping.
Yeah.
In two, and just it sounds like a literal war zone.
Right.
out there, and that's what for people who live in pine trees. And I don't know, other trees may just be as bad, but pine needles are the worst for a freezing rainstorm.
Yeah. But tell the rest of that story. Is this
when it came through the roof?
Yeah.
That was a tornado night.
Okay.
Yeah.
Welcome to the South.
That's a different story. We were having tornado. Now this wasn't caused by a tornado, but it was tornado weather.
Yeah.
Right.
And were you over there with me?
I was there, yeah, when it came through the house.
So Wesley what were you, like 10 years old or something?
Yeah, I would have been
15.
10.
Anyway, we had our 3 kids over at my mother-in-law and father-in-law's house. Again, the ones who live in the pine thicket.
Yeah.
And so it was a stormy night, and tornado spotted here, tornado over there.
Right.
One of those things. You know how it is.
Oh yeah.
In the deep South. So anyway, so we're in the den watching the weather on the news, and down comes this tree through the roof. We didn't see it come through the roof, but we saw it come through the ceiling.
Yeah.
And it went right to the floor.
Oh.
So didn't it go to the floor?
Yeah, it did.
It went to the floor.
Of course, water came pouring in.
It was
raining too.
It was a branch from one of those pine trees had fallen and crashed through the roof, through the ceiling, to the floor, right in the middle of the den. You talk about a surreal moment. Where everybody's sitting there going, "Did this just happen?"
You've seen it in the movies.
Yeah, did this just happen? And
water's pouring
thank God there were several people in the room. Thank God nobody was hurt.
Right.
Because if that thing it'd kill somebody if it hit them square in the head. But that did happen. So I appreciate you reminding me about that. Now I can go home and relive that again. But anyway, I just say, listen, stay safe as you can. Don't do anything stupid, and look after the elderly and those people who are helpless in this situation. I don't know what you do when you got a lot of people who depend on medical equipment and electricity. Am I right?
Well,
at home.
And they elderly depend on family coming in, but at some point it's going to be impossible for others to get out.
You got to make sure right now they got food, and I don't know if you now people can get to people if they live close by, like on 4-wheelers and things like that. They those things can usually brave any kind of weather, but you don't want cars or trucks even out on icy roads, Wesley. It's just makes for 3 people get in the ditch. Then you're going to call a wrecker to come get you, or
the wrecker's not coming out.
No, he's not. Not if you're doing something foolish.
Right.
Go ahead.
Why is it that when I look at this, all I see is Monday, good deer hunting day?
Well, listen, Wesley, you're going to have to develop a more pessimistic view of the world. Okay, we're trying to talk about
Armageddon,
winter Armageddon, and all you're worried about is a big buck on Monday.
Anybody that enjoys hunting outdoors of any type,
that's what you're looking at.
Yeah, I'm looking at come Monday morning, Monday afternoon.
Okay.
The critters are going to be moving.
Okay.
Now we do need to let folks know that some of our programming, especially like on Monday, if it's real bad here, some of our programming may be impacted. So because our staff may not be able to get here,
including us.
Yeah. So there may be best of, for example, for TI. We might have, best of Trivia Friday. We're not playing hooky, is what I'm saying. We couldn't get to the office. So. To do live programming.
All right, Fred, what's next story?
Well, President Trump has arrived in Davos, Switzerland. It was kind of a long trip last night from Washington, D.C. to Davos. Air Force One had to make a U-turn about halfway through the trip because the lights inside the airplane started blinking. And so the captain described it as a minor electrical problem, but out of an abundance of caution, they did a U-turn, came back, and I guess they boarded Air Force. There are 2 747s. Oh. And so they got the other one. He still made it to Davos. They waited for him in Davos at the World Economic Council meeting there because the president was supposed to give a speech. So they put things on hold until President Trump arrived.
You mean they were halfway across the Atlantic when they turned around?
Midway into the flight, and they had to turn around and go back. Those planes are getting old, about 40 years old.
Yeah.
That's
now
why.
we got a plane or 2 donated by Qatar. We not got those ready?
They're not ready yet.
Okay, am I right about
Yeah.
that? Didn't they
Well,
donate?
we're getting one.
Didn't
one
they donate a couple
747.
of 747s to the?
I think that was a rumor.
Yeah.
Oh no, they
got.
They took the donation.
Oh, they took the donation.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the president started a speech at about 20 to 8 our time, Central Time. And he was still going an hour and 10 minutes later. He was, yeah, he was still going.
President Trump?
Yeah.
He's usually short and to the point.
Well, I think the bigger story is here that he continues to do that even at his age. But
Yeah.
that's
Duly noted.
Yeah.
79. However, the headline coming out of the meeting so far is that in that speech, President Trump says he will not use force to acquire Greenland.
You happy, Dad?
Well, okay, I didn't ever think that he would eventually, but he kept talking it up, and
yeah, I get it.
I didn't think that was a good idea.
Yeah,
but now he did say we got to have it.
We got to have it.
We
We're
got to
gonna
have
get it.
Greenland.
We're gonna get it. It's just not by force.
It's not going to be by force. He's going to have a chat, and they're going to talk about the Golden Dome and things like that. So,
No, he's not.
The prediction is
He's not getting it.
He's not going to get Greenland.
He's not going to get Greenland.
But
this is my prediction.
A stronger U.S. military presence.
Compromise.
What are you saying? What are you saying? You saying Greenland will not be
Let
owned
Wesley
by
talk
the United
first.
States?
We haven't
Okay.
got Wesley a chance to talk about much other
all
than
he's
the
thinking
biscuits.
about is hunting Monday.
I mean, so go ahead, Wesley. Tell us your take on Trump and Greenland.
Well, my take. Well, let me start with this. I was right, and that's that. He's not going to take it by force, and so us spending time on air criticizing for him of something that he potentially could do versus waiting to see what he actually does. It's been proven over 5 years of his term to be more effective.
Duly noted.
Although it does not make for good radio, I think criticizing him for what he possibly could do makes for good radio. All right, so right on that. Now, as far as this goes, I think Fred's closer to what could. Well, you have what I would want to happen and what possibly could. So I think what possibly
You want hunting rights in Greenland.
That's right.
Just come on
For
out and say
Americans,
it.
that's
You
right.
want to go hunting in Greenland.
There's a lot of good different.
Yeah.
There's a diverse type of wildlife over there. It'd be fun. I think Fred's right. I think whether you use the word or we actually take over Greenland, even not by force, may be a bit of a stretch. But I do think before his term ends, 3 years from now, we will have far more of a military presence. I don't think we'll get to the minerals. I think that would be. I think that's two reasons for Greenland. There are minerals, the resources, and then of course elk. I don't even think elk can survive. There are very few animals that can survive in Greenland.
Yeah.
Why are you taking me off? See, now I have to give you
I
a
was
legit
trying to help
answer.
you. I was trying to help you. I knew you were looking for a word.
Minerals, and then of course you've got military force or military presence. I think the military presence is number one, and I think we will make tremendous amount of progress in the next 3 years of having some. We will get something out of it, whether we quote technically make it a U.S. 51st state.
So basically, Trump went to Davos, which is in Switzerland. He talked to the World Economic Forum, right?
And he was concerned
and
about.
he said, as far as sending the 82nd Airborne in to take over the fishing villages there in Greenland,
that's off the table.
Come on, people. I was just kidding.
That's right.
Am I right?
That's
Is that what he said?
Paraphrasing.
Sending the 82nd Airborne?
However, his speech was loaded with criticism of his.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that more.
Man.
But anyway, I'm glad that he took the military U.S. SEALs to
off
take
the table.
Yeah, send the U.S. SEALs to take on the Greenland literal SEALs. I'm glad that he took that off the table. We'll be back in a minute. Stay with us.
It's my turn.
Here is your host for My Turn, Don Wildmon.
The very first book in the Bible has some wonderful words for us. Here's a little short verse from the 28th chapter. Surely the Lord is in this place, and I did not know it. Let me share a story with you. Sam put on his top coat, picked up his briefcase, and walked to the door. Saying goodbye to the rest of the family, he proceeded to his car. He backed out of his driveway and headed down the road to the office. At the intersection, he looked both ways, and then he started across, and that's when it happened. There was a terrible screech, tires grinding on the pavement, coming to a sudden and complete stop. Sam jumped, looked toward his right to see a big tractor-trailer bearing down on him. In an instant, his instinct told him to brace himself to prepare for a terrible accident. The truck was about to crash into his small, foreign-made automobile. He braced and waited, but miraculously, the driver of the giant truck managed to get the big rig stopped just prior to the anticipated collision. With a sigh of relief and thankfulness, Sam uttered a quick prayer. Now, it's only fair to say that Sam was not normally a very religious man, living mostly by his own creeds and just not having much time or interest in the kid stuff, But for some reason, he spontaneously let it slip. "Thank you, Lord," he said, suddenly remembering that there was someone beyond himself. Well, Sam and the driver of the truck got out and surveyed the situation. "Man," said the truck driver, "you're a mighty lucky person. Just a split-second difference in timing, and you very probably wouldn't be around this old world right now. You'd better be thankful that I had my brakes reworked just last week. I would hate to think what would have happened if I had not. And I started to put it off, but changed my mind at the last minute and went ahead. Buddy, you better thank goodness that you're still alive." "Mister," said Sam, "I've already thanked goodness." Well, in a few moments, Sam was on his way to the office again. At a service station along the route he took, he saw Bill. Bill was a friend of his who worked in the same office. Bill was also the religious guy in their group, a regular churchgoer. Sam wheeled in to speak to Bill and tell him about the truck. "Hey, Bill," hollered Sam out of his window as he pulled along his religious friend. "The Lord's really taking care of me this morning. I pulled out in front of this big truck, and the Lord performed a miracle and stopped it just before it got me. It sure is great how the Lord takes care of us, isn't it?" "It sure is," said Bill. "He performed a miracle for me this morning also." "He did?" said Sam. "What happened? Did you nearly get hit by a big truck like me?" "Well, not quite," said Bill. "He just kept me from pulling out in front of any big trucks." Strange how we can find him in the miracles and not in the everyday events, isn't it?
This has been My Turn with Don Wildmon, a production of the American Family Association.
My name is Steve, and I'm from California. I believe that our lives start at conception, and thankfully, Preborn believes the same as I do. I support their mission of kindness and mercy to save the unborn from the horrible act of abortion. I hope to see the lives that we save together in heaven one day.
This is Today's Issues. Email your comments to comments@afr.net. Past broadcasts of Today's Issues are available for listening and viewing in the archive at afr.net. Now, back to more of Today's Issues.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. That's the name of the show. Today's Issues here on AFR. Well, we had a couple stop by. They're still in the building, I think, to see us. They're just wanted to, Rick and Debbie from Clear Lake, Iowa. They're on their way to Florida.
Is that an official shout-out?
Yeah, that's a shout-out to Bar from the 90s. My apologies to Arsenio Hall. So they're from Clear Lake, Iowa, and I told them they left Iowa to arrive just in time for the redneck snowstorm. Huh? So anyway,
well, they're going to be in Florida.
They're going
when
to Florida, but I checked Florida. Not that I was going to leave, go down there, but I did check it out just to see. It
crossed your mind.
It's going to be cool down there too. I mean,
yeah.
It's not going to be beach weather, but in most places in Florida. But anyway, Rick and Debbie, for everybody back home in Clear Lake, Iowa, they're doing fine.
Yes, they made it down here.
They made it down here. They're on their way to Florida, and so there you go. And we welcome folks to stop by and see us. If you're traveling our way, we would love to meet you, let you see our studios and everything.
Yeah, just go to afa.net, and at the top there's a drop-down menu that says More. And then you look, it says visits. And you do have to fill out a form.
Right. Criminal record, we need that. I mean, we're not trying to say there isn't forgiveness. But I'm just saying we need to know these things.
We do need to know if you're running from the law.
If you're running from the law, we need to know.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you can't come in the building.
Right.
I think it actually does.
It does? Okay. All right. Well, if you're running from the law, I would say postpone your trip to a later date.
There we go.
Okay?
Until you can work things out with the district attorney.
That's what I'm talking about.
Then,
All right. You're listening to today's issues on AFR. Fred, Ed, Wesley, and Tim. And now our brother, Abraham Hamilton III, joins us in studio. Good morning, Abe.
Good morning.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. I chuckled when Ed said, work things out with the district attorney. If you happen to be in Minnesota, the district attorney's liaison for intergovernmental affairs might show up at a protest at your church.
Yes.
Like Jamal Lundy. The guy literally
Tell us what's going. You're being serious.
I'm
what
dead
happened?
serious.
Everybody's heard about those protesters storming that Baptist church.
Yes.
On Sunday.
It was such a grassroots, unplanned, unorganized,
organic
phenomenon that came complete with a professional film crew. And wait for it, Don Lemon.
Don Lemon, yeah, he just
so organic.
Happened to be showing up. So what? So who else was in this crowd?
Yeah,
these people is disgusting. They went into a worship service and started shouting.
Yeah,
right?
right before communion.
How many of them were there? By the way,
I don't know the exact number.
20 or 25
yeah,
or something
20,
like
25,
that?
something like that, and it included the Hennepin County Attorney's Office, the Intergovernmental Affairs Liaison, and I'm not joking. The guy literally is employed by the Hennepin County Attorney, which is the local district attorney in the area, and he's also, by the way, running for Senate in the state of Minnesota.
And he's the one violating the law by going into.
He is breaking the law by participating in this. You cannot make this up.
Now, the Justice Department is going to prosecute these people. This is what we've been told.
Yes.
The American people have been told.
Yes.
Under the FACE Act, which until this week I did not know had a provision within it.
Yeah.
Proscribing, breaking like they did, invading church services.
Yeah.
In order to protest. Is this a viable option for prosecuting these folks?
It is. And the thing that's so ironic in this, the guy that we're talking about, this Jamal Lundy guy, literally his job, he would be the person that the Department of Justice would contact to facilitate cooperation with the local law enforcement. But he's at the protest. So not making this up at all.
Listen,
so to your point about the FACE Act, yes, it's viable, but it's not the exclusive route. You know, there are other legal routes available to prosecute these people for violating the law. And by the way, folks, there's no First Amendment right to trespass criminally on private property. It applies to the government.
So you're saying just because a church says anyone can come to our service does not mean that that's a public place that has First Amendment protection for interrupting what goes on there.
That's exactly right.
And you know what? There has to be a law, probably some provision about threats, and even perceived threats, because thank the Lord, nobody was injured or hurt, okay, by these people who stormed into the church that we're talking about, 20 or however how many there are. What they were doing, if you wonder what was their motivation, they were seeking out somebody in the church who was on the pastoral staff who they said was working with ICE or working for ICE. So that's what they were angry about. So they decided to take it out on his church. But it would be a threatening, menacing situation to have your congregation sitting there during the church service, and in storms these people shouting and screaming. Yes or no, they didn't injure anybody or assault anybody that we know of. But still, Abe, that's still that is a violation of the law. Because the people were threatened. I mean,
no, I think
is that right?
Yes, you're absolutely right, and it is interesting. Wouldn't these be some of the same people that would say that there's a separation of church and state. Keep your religion out of politics.
Right.
They were literally coming to demand
Right.
that this elder, this pastor, and the staff to use his position
To get involved in
to remove ICE from Minnesota. I mean, you just can't make this stuff up.
Why is it, Abe, that the unhinged almost always every movement in the world has its nutcases, okay? It's nut jobs. But it seems like over and over and over again, it's the political left that is involved in promoting anarchy or trying to attack law enforcement officers or burn things or loot. I mean, why is it always the lefties that do this?
Because it's not coincidental, it's strategic. So what we would call anarchy and lawlessness and lunacy is actually strategic and tactical for them. You know,
How so?
Well, in this regard, that many of them perceive ICE and illegal immigration as the new civil rights issue of the day, and they're not getting the type of traction that they hope to get with the Renee Good tragedy, unfortunately of our own making, and so they want to ramp up attention on this and kind of kill two birds at one stone. Bring more attention to ICE as if it is a moral cause.
Yeah.
Secondarily, attempt to delegitimize Christ followers and the witness of Christ followers who have the audacity to say what they believe, live what they believe, and profess it in the public square. And then thirdly, to bring national, even global attention, which is why you show up with a camera crew. If it's an organic protest, which is why it's not surprising. We should never forget, for example, Hugo Chavez, before he ever becomes president, what happens? He's incarcerated for what? A coup effort. The same thing in Cuba. Che Guevara and Fidel Castro. What do? They have this uprising, the proletariat uprising. It is central to the whole Marxist panoply, to where they use what they call protest. I call it a faux test. It was a staged political theatrical production, and they use that for the express purposes of ginning up emotion to get what Rush Limbaugh used to call the uninformed voter, the underinformed voter, to be whipped into a frenzy to make it seem like ICE is doing something beyond the pale, and in the process of doing so, they get to take attention away from things like, I don't know, Tim Walz and Jacob Frey with billions of dollars missing. Take attention away from massive amounts of immigration fraud right there in the Twin Cities. Take attention away from the leering centers that billions of dollars has gone to. It's supposed to be learning centers, but learning. And all of these things. So attention is distracted away from all of those things. And so now the issue is the big bad boogeyman called ICE. It's a tactical strategic maneuver that they employ at particular times to accomplish these things all at one time.
And part of the validity of what you're saying here, part of the proof of that is that Keith Ellison, the Attorney General in Minnesota, himself a Muslim, I say that to make a point, he said that the protest was valid and that churches need to expect this kind of thing if they're going to be in the public square. But we all know that if people started going into mosques, Muslim houses of worship, he'd be all over it and saying, no, that is not valid. So this demonstrates, I think, that clearly Christians are part of the target, which is always the case of the Marxists.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Gramsci postulated any society anchored in a Christian worldview must be severed at the root. You read Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals, you understand that these faux tests are tactically employed. They're literally back-channel communications between people that are involved in this. And like the Jamal Lundy guy, he just so happened to be married to a city council member. So this is not like some detract organized phenomenon. They employ these things as a tactic to try to destabilize what they would describe as the hegemonic disposition, and in order to bring more attention and move us ever the more closer, using anarchy and chaos as a strategy to move us ever the more closer to where people in times of perceived chaos are willing to cede liberty. They will exchange liberty in order for protection from the anarchy and the chaos.
I just wanted to highlight how much I have respect for the congregation and the pastor at this church while this was going on, because the videos I watched, there were multiple moments where my gut reaction is to push someone to get out of my face. And that happened multiple times, where the agitators shouting, being provocative, obviously disruptive, while children are crying in the church because of what's taking place, of members of the church. Their kids are in the service as this is going on.
Unbelievable.
And for them to have as much self-control as they did, to just respond or ignore what was going on, to prevent any type of physical altercation was, I don't want to speak too much into it spiritually because I wasn't there, but it had to have been the presence of the Holy Spirit, because your natural instinct is, you've come into my territory, you've crossed the line.
In our church sanctuary.
In our church service, my kid's crying, I'm going to help you out.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
And then
which
what do
I
you-
wouldn't have
and-
been mad if
and-
they did that.
And then what do you think the response would have been there?
Right.
Christians beat up protesters.
There you go. And so you think they would have been upset by that?
Mm-hmm.
You know what?
No, absolutely not.
I'm still stunned a little bit by what you said a few moments ago. So the Attorney General of the state of Minnesota.
Well, the county attorney's office, the Hennepin County attorney.
No, I'm
talking about Keith Ellison.
Oh, yeah, Keith Ellison. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yes,
Go ahead.
Keith Ellison, who is the Attorney General of the state of Minnesota, in response to these protesters storming into a church worship service and disrupting and threatening those in attendance, his response was basically told the Christian churches to get used to it.
Yes.
Not that was we're going to enforce the law or anything like this, or this was wrong of the protesters. Now, he may have said that. I don't know. Did he say that too? I don't know.
We don't have that.
He
Anyway,
said, none of us are immune from the voice of the public.
that's his answer to what happened?
That was his answer.
It's time
And
to listen.
He said that critics.
I'm leaving Minnesota.
He said critics of what happened, this protest, were, quote, getting tender about a church service.
Unbelievable. You're right. He's a Muslim.
He is a Muslim.
So if it happened in a mosque, he'd have said,
yep,
it's unacceptable. We're going to enforce the law. These are intimidators. I guarantee you.
Oh, yeah.
He would have.
I apologize. That was Don Lemon who was criticizing critics of the protest. But
so that wasn't Keith Ellison?
No, Keith Ellison said the first thing. None of us are immune from the voice of the public. That thing about getting tender, that was Don Lemon.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me at all.
That was Elvis did that too.
Tender.
No, love me.
Yeah, love me. Yeah, I was trying not to say
Love me
that.
Tender. All right. Well, listen, what do you got coming up on your show this afternoon, Abe?
I don't know if you guys saw this yet, but the World Economic Forum is going on where President Trump was talking about Greenland.
Ed and I were supposed to go.
Well,
but, we were denied press credentials.
Well,
Yeah, so we're going to go to Greenland instead.
I don't blame you. I'd
Yeah.
like to be a part of that missionary
Reconnaissance.
trip. Yeah, I'd like to be a part of that. But there was a breakout session, and a presentation was made where this presenter said that AI will now be the head of the church in biblical interpretation, because anything having to do with words will be firmly within the jurisdiction of AI. And we're moving into the time where AI will be the foremost expert on all religious texts. Any people that will refer themselves, as people of the book, the most expert on the book will be artificial intelligence.
So you have to
we
pass
need to
their
prepare
test?
ourselves. Huh?
So you have to pass the AI test.
Yeah, and
Or
it
that's
just,
what you be judged by.
I was like, well, if that is
What does that mean? That AI will? I'm not following.
This is program. That's
To
what we're
where-
going to be discussing this afternoon.
to
Don't,
where-
don't ruin it for
What?
me.
Yeah,
All right,
I mean, I
I'm
won't do the
confused.
whole show now, but where the functional head of theological communication and interpretation will no longer be people, it'll be artificial intelligence. And so,
Well, to Wesley's point, I'll have to tune in and hear about that.
you definitely want to hear about
I
that.
have
I'm going
known-
to show the video. They had a full animated display and showing how even Judaism and Islam and Christianity, because their faiths are all centered around words, the foremost expert in words will be artificial
This is getting
intelligence.
awfully
So they will be
close.
dependent upon AI.
Who's going
the head of the church?
So I was distracted. Somebody was calling me who obviously doesn't know I do a radio show from 10 to 11:30. That's really disappointing. But let me ask you this: who did you say? Who's going to be used for? What's going to be used for artificial intelligence? What?
No, that artificial intelligence will now become the foremost expert on religion and theology, because the largest faiths in the world are all dependent upon words, and so there will be no one who will know the biblical text, for example, better than AI, and AI will be the foremost expert on theology and religion in the world.
Now, be honest with you, I have known some pastors who were,
who needed some help.
Well, they had artificial intelligence. You know what I'm saying? Not many, but I've known a few. That,
well, as a
fall into
former
that
pastor,
camp.
I don't like to talk about my own kind.
That's it.
So you don't want a robot taking your spot there behind the pulpit? By the way, associated with it, and I'm not joking about this. In China now, they're using artificial intelligent robots to do street police work.
I saw that. You sent that story around.
To do traffic, not go into houses and arrest people.
And holler at people when they don't do.
Yeah.
It says,
Well,
you're out of the bike lane.
Elon Musk says this is coming quicker than we expect. I'm talking about artificial intelligence associated with that robots.
Yeah.
Taking over a lot of jobs that are that we look for humans to do across the globe. All right. Well, all right, Abe. Thank you,
All
brother.
right.
Appreciate it. See you this afternoon
All righty.
on the Hamilton Corner. I won't call you because I know
you know you're on the air.
Because I know you got a radio show. And I won't call you at 5:10 going, hey, you got a minute?
I appreciate that consideration.
All right.
Hey, while Abe is stepping out, I would like to remind our listeners, they've been hearing about this all week long across all of our talk shows. This week is our preborn AFR campaign for 2026. What is the preborn ministry? Preborn is the direct competition to the abortion industry, and it is the largest provider of free ultrasounds in the United States. And by the way, by letting a woman see her baby on ultrasound and hear the heartbeat, a baby's chance at life is doubled. It is it really impacts women when they begin to see and understand there is a real live human being inside the womb. And so over the past 20 years, preborn partner clinics have counseled hundreds of thousands of women who were considering abortion, and more than 400,000 babies' lives have been saved over the last 2 decades. More than 100,000 women have surrendered their lives to Christ. So we are asking you, who are our listeners, to give to this ministry this week during the preborn 2026 AFR campaign. Your gift of $28 provides one woman seeking an abortion a free ultrasound, giving the mom the opportunity to choose life for her baby. Obviously, $140 provides 5 free ultrasound sessions. Our goal is to help save 5,000 babies through your gifts this week. Please consider a gift of any size. It can be any size. Divide that by $28. That's how many free ultrasounds are made available by your gift. So here's how you do that. Here's the number to call. 877-616-2396 to give. That's 877-616-2396. Or you can donate online safely and securely at afr.net. Folks, jump in and participate in our preborn 2026 AFR campaign. Let's save some babies.
Amen. Next story, Fred.
All right, let's return to Davos for just a second. We mentioned off the top of the program that President Trump, in his speech to the World Economic Council this morning, let it be known that he has no intention of taking Greenland by force. Well, before that, President Trump warmed up the crowd by talking about windmills. And it's kind of interesting because most of the people in that crowd there are climate change people, and they believe in windmills. Well, President Trump told them that windmills are stupid. Cut number 3.
Windmills all over Europe. There are windmills all over the place, and they are losers. The more windmills a country has, the more money that country loses, and the worse that country is doing. China makes almost all of the windmills, and yet I haven't been able to find any wind farms in China. Did you ever think of that? It's a good way of looking at it. They're smart. China's very smart. They make them, they sell them for a fortune. They sell them to the stupid people that buy them, but they don't use them themselves. They put up a couple of big wind farms, but they don't use them. They just put them up to show people. what they could look like. They don't spin, they don't do anything. They use a thing called coal mostly. But China goes with the coal, they go with oil and gas. They're starting to look at nuclear.
This is where, this is the best part about the program live, is that this is the only area in my whole life that Dad and I just absolutely disagree on. I love it, and he hates it. Other than this, we're unified.
Okay.
I love it.
Okay. You mean what you just heard?
I love it.
Okay. Well, listen. I don't hate President Trump's. I think President Trump has been great for our country as a whole. Okay, with his policies. And listen, I like hearing a good joke, and people have a good. President doesn't have to be, stiff-necked for me to. I'm just saying that sometimes I want to hear my president act more presidential. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up with Ronald Reagan.
Right.
Okay.
And I grew up with George Bush.
Ronald Reagan wouldn't take off his suit and tie, and that President Trump doesn't either. But I'm just saying, there was
protocol.
He was a man of conviction, but he also had dignity, and he had some humor about him.
Yeah.
I don't know, just with President Trump.
Don't make me change your mind. You hold your conviction. I'm just telling you, I love it.
Well, it's not a. I still vote for President Trump, but I'm just saying. I just sometimes when you say stuff like you didn't give me the Nobel Peace Prize, so I'm taking Greenland. Then I don't know what to say. He took the woman's. Did he take it? She came to the White House to give him her Nobel Peace Prize, and he took it.
Yeah.
Did he take it? Okay, that right there, you be a gentleman, and you say, "Ma'am, I appreciate it, and you're right. I have done a lot, but I'm not taking your Nobel Peace Prize from you. But I appreciate your offer." No, he took it. Yeah. He's gonna put it hanging on his wall.
There will be some of those that you can convince me is not the right thing to do. But telling people that buy windmills and the green movement that they're stupid, and then to say that China doesn't buy their own because they know better. I think
well, you can't. All right, I'm going to stop right there.
Well, let me just say.
I'm going to tick off a lot of people, and I don't even know. Well, go ahead. I better stop.
I was just going to say, I like the content of what he said. I'm with Tim. I don't think you call the leaders of other countries stupid. Not in
on
public.
A forum. Not in a forum like that.
You just say the idea is not workable. Listen, the fact is, China has done this on done this with solar panels. They had government money was flowing into these companies. They produced solar panels, windmills so cheap that virtually all the other companies around the world went out of business. So that then China has a monopoly, and he's exactly right. They're selling this stuff to other countries, but not actually using it. That's fine. All that stuff is fine. I'm with Tim. You don't call other leaders stupid in a public forum. No. You want to get in a shouting match in private?
And he said it over and over again, send military to Greenland, and they said no. So I'm just saying, I appreciate a lot of the things President Trump does and says. I just think it would be helpful if he would be a little bit more presidential.
I will say he's fun to listen to, though.
Okay. Well, maybe that's the trade-off, right? We'll be back. Stay with us.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast may not necessarily reflect those of the American Family Association or American Family Radio.
Faith, family, freedom. American Family Radio.
It's been proven again and again and again.
Bert Harper.
The verification of the dates, the verification of the genealogies, it puts spiritual iron in my spiritual blood to know that we can depend upon the Word of God.
Exploring the Word, weekday afternoons at 3 Central on American Family Radio. This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
American Family News, I'm Rusty Pugh. President Trump says the American economy is booming and Europe should follow his lead. Jonathan Savage has more.
In front of politicians and business leaders from around the world, President Donald Trump reeled off what he sees as his economic accomplishments, citing wins on growth, inflation, trade and budget deficits.
In 1 year, our agenda has produced a transformation like America has not seen in over 100 years.
President Trump comparing his philosophy to those of some of the European leaders there at Switzerland's World Economic Forum.
I love Europe, and I want to see Europe go good, but it's not heading in the right direction.
He said parts of our world are being destroyed before our very eyes.
The House Judiciary Subcommittee on Crime and Federal Government Surveillance holding a hearing on Capitol Hill today looking into a public fraud scandal in Minnesota. Authorities have charged at least 78 people in connection to the scandal, and prosecutors allege that the total scope of the fraud may be over $1 billion. Chairman Andy Biggs of Arizona.
These fraudulent actions have robbed taxpayer funds intended to feed children, support individuals with autism, provide housing for low-income and disabled Americans, and deliver health care to Medicaid recipients.
Arrests are imminent for some of those rioters who attacked a St. Paul church last weekend. Jeff Manasso with more.
Arrests will be made in the next several hours. That was last night from Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem on the mob takeover of a Christian church in St. Paul Sunday, where activists accuse a pastor there of assisting ICE in ongoing immigration action.
This was not an insurrection. This was a correction.
Those are not Christians. Those are evil people if they support that.
Secretary Noem on X also saying the First Amendment protects speech and peaceful assembly, not rioting, and that this administration is committed to upholding federal law and defending the rights of all Americans, that these agitators will be held accountable.
House Speaker Mike Johnson confirming Republicans plan to introduce 3 new appropriations bills this week as Congress scrambles to avoid another government shutdown at the end of the month.
These bills are going to fund the Trump agenda and Republican efforts to restore peace through strength, to defend our borders, and to deport criminal illegal aliens, to rebuild America's infrastructure, and to make America healthy again. All laudable goals and things that we promised and things we're delivering on.
A new report finds that AI allowed for new record-high numbers of child sexual abuse videos on the internet in 2025. Bronson Woodruff has more.
The report from CBS says artificial intelligence is fueling the creation of online child sexual abuse material. The generating software can render photorealistic material in the forms of pictures and videos. Tim Nestor is the Vice President of Communications with the National Center on Sexual Exploitation, or NCOSE for short.
Yeah, I think it is striking to see just the rapid increase in the number of videos of child sexual abuse that we're seeing. I mean, the percentage is a number that doesn't even make sense to most of us. It's like a 26,000+% increase over the previous year based on this research by Internet Watch Foundation.
He explained the IWF found a reported more than 3,400 AI videos of child sexual abuse material compared to just over a dozen the previous year. Nestor said it's heartbreaking, but that it's also important for us to know what's happening.
This is not just slightly inappropriate or suggestive content. We're talking about extreme, violent, exploitive content.
Nestor said he would say a lot of this is on the tech companies who are pushing these technological leaps forward.
And as we say here often in the Cozy, we are excited by new technology and we think it has potential to change the world for good. But also with that comes, we believe, the responsibility of these tech platforms.
Nestor said that he and NCOSE share the same view on what's the biggest change that needs to happen, that these tech platforms need to be held accountable when their platforms are not safe.
And finally, there's a winter storm coming for much of the country.
The storm is forecast to stretch over 2,000 miles, affecting 30 states from Nevada to New England, starting Friday and over the weekend. It's unclear exactly who gets what. The consensus is heavy snow from the Rockies across to the mid-Atlantic, with more than a foot forecast around Oklahoma City and Dallas. As much of a half-inch of ice is forecast to reach parts of North and South Carolina, Georgia, Arkansas, Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. That could cause widespread power outages. All of it could make driving dangerous and shut down airports. Chris Foster, Fox News.
For American Family News, I'm Rusty Pugh.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tim Wildmon, president of American Family Association and American Family Radio. Hey, the tours we've got planned in 2026 are going to be fantastic. They're historical, spiritual, heritage tours. For the information all about them, the D.C., the Williamsburg, the Boston tours, go to wildmongroup.com, WILDMON group.com, and we hope to see you on one of our 2026 spiritual heritage tours.
Today's Issues continues on AFR with your host, Tim Wildmon, president of the American Family Association.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. You're listening to AFR. Tim, Ed, and Wesley, and now Steve Paisley-Jordahl joins us. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning, everybody.
Hey, let me just reiterate what I said at the top of the program, and that is, this winter storm that's going to sweep the middle of the country, so to speak. I guess it is the middle. From Friday to Sunday, I think, maybe Monday in some parts of the eastern seaboard, but all the meteorologists are saying this is going to be one of the worst we've had in 5 years, I guess, or so, winter storms. And so it's going to affect probably half of our radio stations are in the path of this storm. So a lot of our stations are going to be off the air. When the power goes out at your house, the power is going to go out at our radio station, probably in your community, because, especially if the freezing ice. I mean, we had a tower in 1994 that collapsed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about like a 500-foot tower of metal, and the ice built up because of the freezing rain so thick that it collapsed the tower. Do you remember this?
That's incredible, yeah.
So, I mean, it's dangerous. This freezing ice is the worst. You'd rather have snow, even sleet I'll take over freezing rain. But anyway, I just say that to say you don't have to call us and tell us we're off the air. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
We have a way to know here, by the way.
Right.
We're off the air. So, but you can you still get us on the app.
The problem will be even for the app, you've got to have internet in your house.
Hey, that's
like
true.
When the power goes off at my house, I've got no internet.
Well, I do on your iPad or phone. You do though.
Well, he's saying that
no, I don't have no Wi-Fi. I should say that.
Yeah.
Oh, but I'm talking about. But your cell phone will work if the tower.
It will, but I get a very poor signal where I live.
Well, we all make choices in life.
Well,
that's your answer.
Well,
that's your response.
I knew about this from the Verizon commercial.
I get like one bar where I live. That's why we get. That's why we get.
Have you seen these dueling TV commercials between Billy Bob Thornton and what's
Matthew McConaughey?
No.
Owen Wilson?
Yeah, Owen Wilson. I think
the actor. He's what's his brother's name with the crooked nose?
Luke Wilson is his brother. Luke.
No, it's Luke, not Owen.
Wilson, yes, Owen is the crooked nose. Luke is the guy on the commercial.
Crooked nose.
You know who we're talking about?
I do.
Well, he's known for that.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, these dueling, they're cell phone advertisement commercials, and both of them are walking down a dirt road. Both of them, one of them has a dog. One of them says, "We're winning."
So
we're the best.
Are they mentioning each other? Or?
Well, the Billy Bob Thornton, no, not Verizon. It's what's the other big one? Not AT&T, not Verizon, but what's the other? T-Mobile.
Sprint. Yeah. T-Mobile. What?
I think it's
T-Mobile.
I think it's T-Mobile. It's an advertisement, and he's talking about how great they are, and then but then AT&T came back with an ad like a couple months later, which almost duplicated what he with what's the fellow's name? The actor?
Luke Wilson.
Luke Wilson. Yeah. You don't know what I'm talking about? You haven't seen those?
Oh yeah.
Anyway, I think it's a T-Mobile ad, but it's funny that
T-Mobile.
Yeah, they're both promoting their product, and they're doing it in the same way. In that case, I think AT&T.
I think Ryan Reynolds is doing a commercial
He's
for
doing one, but he's
some kind of new.
Oh, he's been doing this for a while. Ryan Reynolds, it's the green one.
The mint something.
Yeah, but
what?
Yeah,
like chewing gum?
No. I think
mobile.
The name of the.
Oh, you mean like a cell phone company?
Yeah.
What is he? What is?
Is it Mint Mobile? I think.
I've never heard of that. What is that?
Maybe I'm wrong.
Mint Mobile.
Mint Mobile.
Yeah.
It launched the company's Minternet home internet service in 2025.
And he's been doing that for a bit. I remember he had one commercial where he says, "I printed up $3,000 bills. Turns out it's highly illegal."
Okay, I've seen that one. I don't guess, or I'm not familiar with that product. So that's not a cell phone company.
Well,
it's an internet.
It's
provider.
home internet.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so anyway, we and we may not have our regular programming on Sunday or Monday. We don't know. We don't know. It just depends on how we're impacted here too, where we are. So, but all right, Steve, first story.
I've got 2 cuts of sound that I have to play you. And my question as we listen to these is, what do you do with people who have absolutely no regard for the truth? They can lie through their teeth, and they just don't seem to be bothered by it. This first one is, I want to play you a cut from William Scott Kelly. William Scott Kelly is the guy with the beard that was chasing all the people out of the city's church in Minneapolis, in St. Paul. Remember the guy that was yelling at all the Christians?
Yeah.
Well, he was just at a press conference. And you got to listen to what he has to say, cut 17.
I mean, what we're seeing around this country is they're using their political influence to attack people that disagree with them. They're going to come at me with charges, and I'm not scared of that. There's no base for these charges. I did not block them from, their service. They welcomed us in. They never asked us to leave. The police never came in and removed us. So we didn't stop their service. In fact, people were still praying the entire time. The music was still playing the entire time. So, Pam Bondi, you want to come and arrest me? You want to come and give me charges? So be it. And for all the people giving me death threats, threatening my life, kill me. Go ahead, kill me. Because you know what? As Fred Hampton said, you can kill the revolutionary, but you can't kill the revolution.
Didn't stop a single thing. They were invited into the church.
Well,
Ed?
This guy is what I call a blatherskite. Okay? Now, I promised you in our story meeting
they were tough
that I was going to introduce a new word. It's actually a very old word. It's from the Norse. We're talking, it's like in Vikings or something.
What?
A blatherskite is a person who talks at great length without making much sense. A blatherskite. Foolish talk and nonsense is what they trade in. And that's what this guy is. He's a blatherskite.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of them on the left. I'm sure there's a few on the right. But, folks, blatherskite. I'm reintroducing it.
I have a second blatherskite for you.
Okay.
This is actually Don Lemon. Don Lemon was
absolute blatherskite.
He was out trying to convince people that there's nothing wrong with crossing the border. It's not illegal to cross our border. You should. I can't.
Is that what he said?
Yeah. Listen to this. This is cut 16.
Okay, crossing the border illegally is not a crime?
No, it's not a criminal act.
Okay.
It's a misdemeanor.
So why are they being sent back and saying that they're breaking the law?
That's the point.
Okay, as somebody that actually...
We don't know if they're breaking the law because they won't tell. There's no due process. Where's the evidence? That's the whole point. And if they are breaking the law, most people will say, okay, then they need to go if they're criminals. But if they're not, why are they being rounded up and sent out, especially when he promised to deport the criminals? And now he's not doing that.
Yeah, I don't think we're going...
Misdemeanor is not a crime. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
So misdemeanor is not
it's
a crime?
It's not a criminal act, no. If you get charged with a misdemeanor, that's not a criminal act.
So why get charged at all then, if it's not a criminal act?
Because we have different levels of crime. Everything is not the same.
So it is crime.
No,
it's just
we
different levels.
have different levels of. I shouldn't say crime, but it's not. It's not a crime. You're not breaking the law. I mean, you are breaking the law, but it's not a criminal act.
So we're breaking the law.
No,
the law, but
you're not breaking the law.
The misdemeanor is not breaking the law.
No.
If you're speeding, drinking, get pulled over, DUI.
That's not a criminal act. Well, no, if you're speeding is a misdemeanor.
It's a misdemeanor.
Right.
So it's still breaking the law.
Okay, well, if you want to qualify that, we're doing semantics. But what I'm trying to tell you is everything is not the same. It's all not one thing.
But is it the law?
What is it? The law that what?
Is it a law to come over legally? Is there a law?
There are rules processes that you should follow. Yeah, so you're breaking rules. You're breaking the rules, but you're not necessarily breaking a law.
So what happens when you break the rules?
Then you suffer the consequences. But the consequences should not. Look, no one is saying no one should suffer the consequences. You guys are getting things mixed up.
They're getting things mixed up. That was a bunch of.
Blatherskite.
I can't hear you.
That
was a bunch of gobbledygook if I've ever heard it.
Well, blatherskites frequently resort to gobbledygook, Tim.
Yeah, they do, don't they?
Yeah.
It's going to take me a minute to pronounce that. Say it slowly.
Blatherskite. Well, have you ever hear people blather on?
Yeah, blather.
It comes from that.
Blather.
Blather on.
That was Don Lemon. He came to fame on CNN as an anchor, and then he was with Cuomo. what was his name? Chris Cuomo?
Yeah.
He was with him on CNN before they both left or got fired. And
They crossed. They were back-to-back shows, and they had some interactions between shows.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
But anyway, what
he was. I think what he was trying to say is that it's not a felony. That a misdemeanor is not a felony, but a misdemeanor is a criminal.
Still a
offense.
crime.
It's still a crime.
It's a category of crime. A misdemeanor is a category.
You guys are getting all mixed up in the details.
No, what he was trying to say was no big deal if people come here and across the border. Yeah. Who cares? As long as they don't commit crimes.
You're breaking rules.
You're breaking rules,
not
he
laws.
said.
Also, too, in all of that, you gotta catch the small things of just lying versus manipulating. And he lied when he said that President Trump, and his administration said that they were going to deport illegal criminal
and they
aliens. And he said, and they're not doing that.
That's what he said.
That's what he said. They're not doing that. Right. When that's in fact exactly what they are. There was a couple of these videos of these ICE agents just released yesterday, videoed from the bystanders. And the ICE agents saying to the bystander, or not the bystander, a bystander who is part of the agitating group.
Right.
And they're videoing the ICE agent trying to catch him in something. And he says, "We are here not for you. We're here for an illegal alien rapist. Would you please move?"
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what
right.
They had one mission for
Right.
that. They had one mission right there.
I saw that video. That's who you were paraphrasing, but they said that's who you're defending
That's who
here
you're
with your
defending.
actions.
Yeah.
The truth is, listen, the truth is, the people on the political left, they don't believe in borders. They think borders are immoral.
Unless it's their house. Go ahead.
Duly noted. Yeah.
Carry on.
Give me a fist pump.
I hate it.
That's just their house. If you broke into their house and walked into them and started going to their fridge and got the remote and sat down, they would tell you to leave or they're going to call the cops.
Right.
That's what these lefties would do.
Right. Absolutely.
But when it comes to our country, they don't care. They don't believe in borders. So when you don't believe in borders, then you get what Biden did. 15 million people here. We don't even know where they're from. So really, in essence, President Trump and the current administration, including ICE and Kristi Noem, there are going to be some mistakes made along the way.
Yeah.
There's going to be some video footage that seem as unpleasant to watch. But you know what? President Trump got a complete and total mess dropped in his lap. He signed up for it, but I'm just saying, look at the mayor of New York City saying we can't take any more illegal aliens. Remember that?
Yeah, that's right.
Even when Biden was in office.
Right.
So think about that happening for 4 years, and President Trump then comes into office thinking, we got these gangs, we got this human trafficking, we got drugs going everywhere, all because Biden, mainly because Biden said, y'all come to the world.
Right.
So, there are going to be mistakes made along the way. Things are always not going to look pretty. That's going to happen when you're involved in the kind of work that ICE is, and plus, ICE is being confronted by people, and they're having to physically, oftentimes, defend themselves.
Do you know this? Again, I don't have the source in front of me, but I read this, and if I need to get it, I can. But do you know in 12 months of Trump's administration that they have arrested and detained and questioned and realized that they were wrong on less than 20 people in their process of deportation?
Gotcha.
Less than 20 people they arrested, detained, questioned, and realized we got the wrong person, and then released them within 8 hours.
Yeah.
Less than 20. Everyone else.
I'm not hearing that.
When you're dealing with that, when you're dealing with hundreds of thousands of people, that's going to happen.
And that's minuscule with as many people as they've got right.
My question is, how do you argue with people who have no regard for the truth? If we're going to counter this,
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
If we're going to counter this movement on the left, what do we do?
Well, you have to tell the truth yourself.
Yeah.
Listen, there's no having conversations with these people.
Thank you.
This guy who you led off with, who was in the church saying, Pam Bondi, bring it. Mm-hmm. Okay. There's no arguing with those kind of people. They are either ideologues who are.
He said he's part of a revolution.
Yes, he's part of a revolution. You don't argue with revolutionaries. You prosecute them when they break the law. But you do like what AFA and AFR is doing. You tell the truth. You tell the truth about our founding, our liberties, and all those kinds of things. And you try to sway the people who are wondering what is going on. But these people, all you can do is prosecute them when they break the law and protect yourself from them.
Yeah.
Because they want to bring this country down.
You're listening to Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. Tim, Ed, Wesley, and Steve. So next story, Steve.
There is a group of church leaders that are heads of denominations of Greek Orthodox, Roman Catholic, mainline denominations in the United States. They call themselves the patriarchs and heads of the churches in Jerusalem, and they've issued a statement. And the statement includes this sentence: recent activities undertaken by local individuals who advance damaging ideologies such as Christian Zionism mislead the public, sow confusion and harm and unity of the flock. The patriarchs of the head of the church further note with concern that these individuals have been welcomed at official levels, both locally and internationally. He is talking about evangelical Christians.
Who's he?
Those people? Those people, this group of patriarchs and heads of the Catholic, the churches in Jerusalem are coming against evangelicals. Ambassador Mike Huckabee, who is going to be on with Jenna tomorrow morning. She recorded an interview with him, and it will air tomorrow morning. Excuse me?
Is that right?
I was going to sneeze here.
Oh, I thought you were questioning yourself.
No,
is it tomorrow or is it Saturday?
It is tomorrow. When the sneeze comes, it'll come. But he has, Ambassador Huckabee has penned a response. He says, in response to the statement of non-evangelical churches in Israel, I issued the following. I hope you will read prayerfully. I love my brothers and sisters in Christ from traditional liturgical churches and respect their views, but I do not feel any sect of the Christian faith should claim exclusivity in speaking for Christians worldwide. He says, personally, he says, this includes his covenant, I'm part of the global and growing evangelical tradition that believes the authority of Scripture and the faithfulness of God in keeping his covenants. This includes his covenant with Abraham and the Jewish people. My Christian faith is built on the foundations of Judaism, and without it, Christianity would not exist. He goes on to say that God would not break his covenant with the Jews. And when people are talking about Christian Zionism, he says Christians follow the Christ, and a Zionist is simply someone who accepts the Jewish people have a right to live in their own ancient homeland. So basically, this is a battle that these heads of these churches have picked with evangelicals, and Mike Huckabee is standing up for evangelicals in this fight.
Okay, so you want to make sure, folks, you tune in tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock Central Time for Jenna Ellis in the morning, and she's going to have an interview with Ambassador Mike Huckabee, which is going to be, you're going to really appreciate and enjoy that interview with Mike Huckabee. Yeah, so listen, the expression Christian Zionist is supposed to be a pejorative, and Mike Huckabee talked about that. Many in the liberal news media use it that way, and even some liberal churches who criticize conservative churches for holding Christian Zionist views. I'll let Mike articulate the view that the Abrahamic covenant and talk about that as it relates to modern-day Israel. But what I want to say is, listen, if you took the religious aspect of my support for Israel out of the way, just put it on the side over here, I would still support Israel and their right to exist and their right to defend themselves. That's the way I look at it. The Jews, the nation of Israel has been our biggest ally in the Middle East. They have a form of government that's closest to ours. They have a way of life that's closest to ours. And you look around them, everybody wants to come down on Israel. Not everybody, but a lot of these lefties want to come down on Israel. And I'm looking around going, well, Israel at least has a democracy. They have a representative form of government. They have freedom to move around, unless you're a part of a terrorist outfit, right? But I'm talking about, compare that to the rest of the Middle East, for example. What about in Saudi Arabia? What about in Egypt? What about in Syria? I mean, what I'm saying is the freedoms that exist in Israel don't exist in those countries exactly the same. You see do you understand what I'm saying?
Sure.
So, and so Israel, my view is Israel has been attacked. The people who hate Israel will go back to 1948 and say, no, the Arabs were attacked by the Jews. And that's what started all this. That's what they're going to tell you, right? So
they'll say that when Israel was declared a nation,
that's when the war started, and the aggressor was the Jews, and there's been a war going on ever since, basically in that part in Israel. So I support Israel. You can call me a Christian Zionist if you want to. I don't mind being called that, but I'm a Christian who is an American citizen who supports the right of the nation of Israel to exist. And I don't buy the argument that there's a genocide going on in Gaza either. Gaza was under siege by the Israelis because of the Hamas organization butchering, murdering, slaughtering 1,100 to 1,200 people on that October the 7th. Was it 2 years ago? When was that?
That was 2023, wasn't it?
2023.
Yeah.
That's when Israel unleashed the military force into Gaza, which, yeah, it did. It decimated Gaza. It's rubble now. And you know why? Because Hamas killed all those people in their moment of bloodlust. They wanted to get revenge. They hate the Jews, and they wanted to get them, and they did.
And then hid behind their own citizens.
Well, that's what they do. That's what they do. They hide within the population so that they're not easy targets for the Israelis. So, anyway, I got off a little bit on a tangent there, but I just wanted to say there are reasons to support Israel outside of how you view the Abrahamic covenant with the Jews.
Yeah, but I will say this, though. There is a discussion going on, broadly speaking, amongst the different Christian streams about how you interpret. Now, I believe Romans 11 makes it clear that God has a plan for the Jews. It mentions Israel, so the expectation is that Israel, would come back as a nation prior to 1948. So, but there are people who are saying no, that Israel is no different than any other nation. God has no more. That those promises made to the nation of Israel have now been transferred to the church. That discussion is going on, and we're going to see more of these kinds of controversies. And people need to study their Bible. I think Romans 11 is a good place to start, and I agree with Governor Huckabee.
Yeah. All right. But anyway, that's tomorrow on Jen Ellis in the morning. We got about 1 minute left.
Yeah, let me just say that this happened in Tacoma Park, Maryland. A Ring doorbell caught a woman with a rock who walked past an apartment that had a Charlie Kirk flag. She threw the rock through the window and broke the window and then felt bad about it. She came back and left this note. It says, "Hello, I accidentally broke your window. There was a raccoon involved. I'm so sorry. My cell number is..."
And she was on the Ring camera actually just throwing it through the window?
Just chucking a rock at the window, yeah.
There
was a raccoon involved.
Typical blatherskite.
There you go.
That's right.
I will bring that word
back. When I'm able to pronounce that as efficiently as you do, I'm going to start using it as well.
Blatherskite. You know why? Because in my flesh, I want to call these people morons. Yeah. And those are ugly words. Christians really shouldn't use
Your
that.
mom wouldn't be proud.
My mom wouldn't be proud. But blatherskite kind of is a step away from that. You get the point across. That's foolish talk. Blather.
All right. Have a great day, everybody. Keep listening to AFR. We'll see you tomorrow. Hello, everyone. I'm Tim Wildmon, president of American Family Association and American Family Radio. Hey, we've decided to make our spiritual heritage tour this year a walking tour. So we're going to walk in